And thank you, Rob. Always a pleasure to get those reports from on the scene. That again, NASA Public Affairs Officer Rob Navius on site there down in French Guiana, standing by inside the Jupiter control room. As he's just mentioned, partners from around the globe all engaged in flying and maintaining the International Space Station. Eyes fixed now on this launch of ATV-5. Again, this the largest cargo vehicle currently in the fleet. Responsible for resupplying the International Space Station, delivering on this mission just over 7 tons of supplies. It's 14,500 pounds for this Expedition 40 crew. In just a couple of minutes, we'll be cutting away to ESA and Arianespace's live launch broadcast. But in the meantime, we'll keep you here in Mission Control. Just about 21 minutes, 45 seconds away from targeted launch, a precise launch time of 6:47 p.m. Central Time. As mentioned, expected to stay on all the way through the solar array deploy, which comes about 1 hour, 35 minutes after launch. That'll be successfully completed. And then following that, ATV-5 George Lemaitre will have to do a series of rendezvous burns as it begins its 2-week journey towards the International Space Station. So again, the weather cooperating, the vehicle in good shape, the team's not tracking any issues so far for this launch. Just coming up now on 20 minutes away. We'll be cutting now in the next couple of seconds down to French Guiana. Be bringing you Arianespace's live broadcast in the lead up to this launch. So we'll rejoin you periodically throughout the show for updates from here in Mission Control Houston. But for now, all eyes focused on that launch pad down in Kourou. Everything's good to go, looking great, looking forward to it. This is Mission Control Houston.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am really pleased to welcome you tonight for our 6th launch of the year from the Guyana Space Center, the 74th already for Ariane 5. Tonight, our heavy lift vehicle is set to deliver for the European Space Agency into a 260-kilometer altitude circular low Earth orbit, the 5th automated transfer vehicle named George Lemaitre after the Belgian astrophysicist. Our launcher, in its ES version with storable propellant upper stage, will be required a performance of 20.3 tons, a record number for Ariane. The mission will last a little less than 1 hour and 4 minutes for the ATV separation and almost 3 hours for the re-entry of the upper stage. I would like to thank our prime contractor, Airbus Defence and Space, for this 5th ATV and for this 74th Ariane 5. At the heart of what we hope will be a record operational year, tonight's mission is emblematic of 2014 general color, provide Europe with a guaranteed and independent access to space, which is Arianespace's raison d'être. After Copernicus and before Galileo, the ATV mission is emblematic of European contribution to space and illustrates its key role in the space international cooperation. Indeed, I would like to thank deeply the European Space Agency for entrusting Arianespace with the launch of its cargo vehicle for the 5th time since 2008 and the launch of the Forerunner Jules Verne. Being part of such a thrilling international cooperation endeavor as the International Space Station is a great source of pride for Arianespace. We hope we will be able to contribute to this program again in the future. But our 74th Ariane 5 is now being readied for launch, so enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to the Guyana Space Centre. We are live at the launch pad and there's Ariane 5 going through the final preparations. We are launching the European Space Agency's 5th automated transfer vehicle. It's a cargo ship taking vital supplies to the International Space Station, and it's called Georges Lemaître, after the Belgian cosmologist who discovered the Big Bang. This is mission control. You can see the operational teams behind me all concentrating hard at this point before launch, and right now the status panel world record tonight. She's carrying 20.3 tons into space, and that is indeed the heaviest load she has ever carried. Now that pad is 15 kilometers away from us here in Mission Control, so let's walk you around some of the teams here. This is the Flight Directorate, or the Flight Control Desk. That's Stefan Israel. He's the CEO of Ariane Space. Now these guys take all the important decisions in the case of any unplanned situations. Edouard Perez, with his encyclopedic brain of the launch vehicle there, and you'll see them on the phones throughout the mission. Ariane Space has launched all 5, or will have launched all 5 of the ATV vehicles. Over now to the European Space Agency.
Good evening and welcome for this important event, the launch of the ATV. Performances, its capacities for automated rendezvous and docking to the station. This last ATV, named after Georges Lemaître, the Belgian scientist who was one of the fathers of the Big Bang. It's the last of a series, but this is the beginning of a new big adventure, since aboard this ATV-5 there are new sensors which will be tested before the docking, and this will allow later to have rendezvous with non-cooperative targets. And then the service module of ATV will become the service module of the Orion capsule, which is the NASA crew transport vehicle. This is the first time that NASA entrusts ESA in the critical path of a manned spacecraft that will go to the moon in 2017-18. So you see, this is the end of an adventure and the beginning of another one even more thrilling.
Well, I am now absolutely delighted, rather, to introduce you to somebody who's a true specialist of ATV. Charlotte Besco is, well, I have to say your job title doesn't really quite describe your job, because it's your operations interface for ATV. It's a small job title for a very big job, I would say, because you work with all the different teams. Charlotte has been involved in the project ever since 1999, and so she's worked on every single one of the ATVs. Charlotte, it is an extraordinary piece of technology. It's complex, it's sophisticated. What is it that makes it so exciting?
Well, the ATV has, of course, all the standard equipment that any satellite has: propulsion, power, computers, communications, etc. But it has been designed to provide 7 types of services to the International Space Station. And these